What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Houston Productions video. I'm your host Lucas to bring you a top 10 list, more specifically a top 10 list of my favorite movies of the year of 2022. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely don't think this has been the greatest year for movies. I think that the pandemic and COVID and quarantines are definitely starting to catch up to studios a little bit. CGI is looking a little rough. Some things definitely, shouldn't have been movies, but preferably could have been TV shows. Some TV shows should have just been movies. It's been a little bit of a wonky place and a wonky time for movies right now, and the theater box office numbers are kind of showing that. But with that being said, guys, there have been a couple of standout movies this year, and I wanted to go ahead and share my top favorites with you. I've already given you my top 10 TV shows of the year, so if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check that one out. I definitely think you'll enjoy it. But before you go check out that video or continue on in this one, I need you to do a couple things for me. One, I need to thank you for watching all these videos. Thank you, guys. I've enjoyed making them, and I have so many big plans for 2023 here on the channel. So definitely subscribe if you haven't done so. While you're doing that, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Everything helps the channel grow. And then go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let me know, what was your favorite movie of the year? What are you looking forward to coming out in 2023? Is there anything that blew you away? Something that was a big, giant disappointment? I want to hear from you guys. Or is there anything you want to see me cover? With that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump into my top 10 movies of the year. Alright, before I can jump right into my first recommendation, no, this is not going to cover any major plot points or spoilers, so you are good to go on that aspect. I will also try to include what streaming service you can watch them on if they're available to be found on a streaming service. And no, this will not be a long review. If you want to see me do a review of any of these, feel free to go ahead and, like I said, drop a comment down below. But my first recommendation, like I said, in no particular order, is going to be Top Gun Maverick, which can be found on Paramount+. Now, obviously this movie has been a long time in the making. We've all heard the audio of Tom Cruise kind of losing it and, taking this very seriously. We've seen the videos of him skydiving to promote this movie, the intro in theaters, thanking you for coming. But overall, I gotta say, I'm not a huge Top Gun fan, but this movie did surprise me. I was a fan of the first one, and I was excited to see the second one. However, it wasn't something that was, really, really high up on my list of things coming out. But I'm glad that I sat down and watched it, and both my wife and I, we really enjoyed having a soda, eating some popcorn, and just watching what is overall a great popcorn flick. No, this is not gonna be, the best movie of the year, I don't think. It had some incredible stunts, amazing camera work. The acting was okay for the most part, but it does kind of seem just like a little bit of a retelling of a story we've all seen before. But that does not take away from the fact that this movie was just flat out entertaining and a good time to watch. So if you have Paramount Plus, or if you want to sign up for that free trial, now would be a great time to check out Top Gun Maverick on Paramount Plus. And moving right into my second recommendation, which can be found on Hulu, is Prey. Now, this movie did come out earlier in the year, but I gotta tell you what, if you did not see Prey, then you definitely missed out on a little bit of a hidden gem. I know it kind of had a big spurt of popularity for a little bit and then kind of died away, but I don't think everybody really took the time to sit down and see this. Now, Prey is a prequel to Predator, so go ahead and be aware of that. This is a Predator movie, which means you can expect the cussing, well, not really cussing, but you can expect a little bit of the gore, you can expect some of the high action sequences and stuff like that, so be aware. This is probably a little too mature for the young ones, so I wouldn't recommend, turning this one on with the family and just hoping for the best, but like I've said before, you know your children better than I do. But Prey was fantastic. The premise is pretty simple. Like I said, it's a prequel to Predator, and it shows one of the first interactions between the predators and the Native American people, and it's just overall a good little action flick. A lot like my first recommendation, Top Gun Maverick, this is just a great movie to sit down and enjoy with some popcorn. Grab yourself a big Coke, just sit back and enjoy. This is a great recommendation that can only be found on Hulu. So go ahead and check out Prey if you haven't done so already. And my number 3 recommendation is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Now, I gotta tell you what, guys, I did not know what to expect, what to think. I wasn't too excited whenever I saw this trailer. For some reason, it just seemed a little over the top for me. It didn't seem like something that was really gonna catch my eye, but I am extremely glad that I took the time to sit down and watch this movie. This movie was something that surprised me, and I think it was probably one of, if not the movie that took me by surprise the most this year. What a delightful film to sit down and watch. It's a whole lot of stuff. It's equal parts comedy, action movie, multiverse of madness that, if you saw Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, this is what we were all kind of hoping it would be. but it just wasn't. This was what the multiverse that we were guaranteed was we were expecting. Guys, this movie is fantastic, beautifully acted, great direction, the cinematography, the action sequences, the dialogue, the humor, everything is just so perfect the way it needs to be to pull off a movie like this. It could have easily gone very bad, but with good direction, good quality stars, and a good vision, this movie actually worked out to be quite amazing. If you have not checked out Everything Everywhere All at Once, go ahead and do so. There's been a couple of podcasts that really got me interested in it, one of being The Big Picture off of the Ringer podcast network. Definitely check out The Big Picture if you aren't already subscribed to them. They are a fantastic set of movie reviewers, critics, recommendations, rankings, reviews, whatever you want to call it. But they really got me interested in convinced me to kind of give this movie a shot, and I'm extremely glad I did. So go ahead and check out Everything Everywhere All at Once if you haven't done so already. And my next recommendation, this one is a little hard to find. It's very sparsely distributed through theaters around me, so it did take me a little bit of effort to locate where I was going to be able to find this one. It is available to rent or to purchase on Amazon Prime Video right now, but like I said, just with Everything Everywhere All at Once, it will be an additional charge, even if you do have Prime, so be aware of that. But I'm talking about the movie Tar. Now, if you haven't seen Tar, be prepared for a trip. This movie is, for most people, and a lot of times when I've been talking to this about people, they actually thought that the main character was a real person, because this is done in the style of a biopic. Now, this is a completely fictional movie. It is loosely based on a couple of people through real life, but this is in no way supposed to be, like Bohemian Rhapsody or anything like that. It's just a fictional telling of a artist, a musician, a conductor, more specifically. But this movie is powerful, it's impactful, the acting, the dialogue, the way that these people just absolutely transform, and then it really makes you wonder what is true art and passion going to cost you? What are you willing to give up to achieve success? This movie is a very good time. It is a little deep, it is a little emotional, it can be very talking head, so be aware of that. But if you are fine with a slow burn type of movie and you want to just be engrossed in an art, this is a great movie to watch. It's not similar to, but I guess the best movie that I can kind of compare is getting lost in the art form and kind of losing yourself and wondering what you're going to do and what you're willing to sacrifice would be like Black Swan would be a good comparison. No, it's not as psychological or very, caught up in what is real, but this is still a great movie that like I said, it's going to make you question what are you willing to do for your passions, your art, what you're willing to leave behind. Tar is absolutely fantastic, and I definitely think it's going to be up there for running for Best Picture, if not win it at this next Oscars. So definitely check out Tar if you haven't seen it already. Alright, moving right into my fifth recommendation that could be found on HBO Max. So if you have an HBO Max subscription, you are good to check this one out, and I highly suggest you do. I'm talking about the Banshees of Inisherin. Now, this movie, whenever I first saw the trailers, it definitely looked like a slow burn. However, I am a fan of those movies at times, especially if the acting is very good, and I definitely think that Colin Farrell absolutely knocked this one out of the park. To me, in my opinion, it would be a crime if he is not nominated for a Best Actor nomination at the Oscars this year. He is subtle and convincing and heartbroken and moving all at the same time. It is an interesting movie to say the least. Yet again, this is a movie about passion. What are you willing to sacrifice to achieve your goals, to be remembered? Definitely an interesting movie. It does have a couple of twists that if just based off of the trailers you don't see coming, and even if you have seen the trailers, it doesn't give anything away, which is great. This is a movie that the trailers do just enough to kind of hook you and make you seem interested, and the movie just unfolds in front of you as you sit down and watch it, which is how movies should work. Quit spoiling things in the trailers. But this movie is absolutely incredible. Check out The Banshees of Inisherin on HBO Max if you haven't done so. You'll definitely enjoy it. And my next recommendation, which is going to be also appearing on HBO Max, but not till January 3rd, is The Menu. Now, much like a couple other movies on this list, they have been a little hard to find because they weren't your major blockbuster type movies. These are, like I said, these slow burn types of movies, and they kind of seem to be the predominantly good films over this year. Unfortunately, they kind of got pushed out because of films like Top Gun Maverick, Avatar 2, Wakanda Forever. And I'm not taking anything away from those movies. Those are very entertaining movies, but I definitely think that there needs to be cinema space secured and reserved for all movies, especially movies that are tremendously underrated like this one. The Menu is amazing. Yes, The Menu will be hitting HBO Max on January 3rd, so definitely check that out if you have an HBO Max subscription or sign up for that free trial. But yeah, The Menu is a great just look at what's really popular right now. Foodies, right? Food culture. It seems to be on the upswing, and this movie directly dives into that. It is acted well. The main cast is incredible. The twist is very interesting. It's got humor. It's got a little bit of a thrill to it. The Menu is what you expect whenever you go see a movie. For a lower budget film, this one definitely competes with the best movies of the year. I don't think that this movie, unfortunately, is going to get an Oscar nom for Best Picture unless it sneaks into like that 10th and final spot. There just seems to be a lot of very loud movies this year, which, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. There's space for every type of movie because every type of person has a different preference on what they want to watch. But I definitely think that The Menu slid under a lot of radars because it was so hard to find. But like I said, it will be hitting HBO Max on January 3rd. So check out The Menu. If you have an HBO Max subscription, you will not be disappointed. And then leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought about it. Tell me what you thought about any of the movies on this list so far. What is your favorites? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Would you like more details in future videos like this? Let me know. So, comment section. Yeah, let's talk about it. And my next recommendation that can be found on Peacock. Yes, there's Peacock's making an entry with a good movie on their streaming service is Ticket to Paradise. Yes, this movie was surprising to me. Whenever I saw this, it looked like a traditional, just everyday type of rom-com. It didn't look like anything special. The story didn't look new. It kind of looked like we've seen it before. Yes, it had George Clooney, but is that really enough to make me go see it? And the answer was yes, it was. Especially because my wife is a giant fan of rom-coms. We sat down and watched this, and I had to tell you what, I wasn't expecting Ticket to Paradise to be as entertaining, loving, good-natured, warm, and just a good watch as it was. I did not expect it to make this top 10 list, but yet here it is, and I am so glad we took the time to sit down and watch it. Definitely check this one out. It's very different than every other movie on this list so far, but if you're looking for a good little rom-com, you're looking for charisma, you're looking for good chemistry, all shot in a tropical location, this is the movie for you. Definitely check out Ticket to Paradise on Peacock if you haven't done so already. And moving right into my next recommendation, this was one that I knew right away that I was going to just absolutely love, and it did not disappoint. The trailers looked incredible, the cast looked amazing, and then once I sat down to actually watch the movie from one of my favorite directors, I was not disappointed. If you don't know what I'm talking about Steven Spielberg's The Fable Men. Yes, The Fable Men was incredible. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. It was so good that I actually had to buy a digital copy of it just so I could already start the rewatches of it. Yes, this, if you do not know anything about The Fable Men, this is a little bit of a biopic about how Steven Spielberg, became Steven Spielberg. What made him pick up a video camera in the first place, his childhood, his relationships with his family, and a couple things that I didn't know, even having done some research on Steven Spielberg in the past, especially watching that HBO documentary about Steven Spielberg, there were still things that I didn't know, and I was interested enough to find out the validity of them. But The Fable Men is a great ode to old school Hollywood and cinema and the love of the movies, and about family more than anything else. If you haven't checked out The Fable Men, I definitely think that this is the front runner for Best Picture this year. I think that this is going to get it, and it will be well deserved. So definitely check this one out. And my next recommendation is The Whale. Wow, the return to acting in the cinema screen for Brendan Fraser was everything we could have hoped and more. He is not the goofy, lovable man that we remember in the 90s and early 2000s. He has completely flipped his persona, and he has done it in a way that left almost everyone in the theater I was in just almost heartbroken. Everybody was almost drawn to tears. It was an incredible performance. The story was great. Sadie Sink did amazing as well. There were just so many different levels that I wasn't expecting to experience or to see in a movie like this. I went into this movie purely because of Brendan Fraser, and I have to say I love this movie, in love with the entire plot, the story. I wanted to learn more about it. This movie was definitely something that flew under most people's radars, but I think, like I said, it's because there have been a lot of loud, noisy movies this year. This one just hasn't had the space in theaters to be seen, and I gotta tell you what, if you are anywhere where this movie is being shown, definitely check this one out. It is well worth the price of admission, and you will not be upset about going to it. And my final recommendation of my top 10 movies of the year is coming from Netflix, and this movie I I just watched on a whim. It just showed up as a Netflix recommendation. I'd heard a couple people talking about it, which tells me not many people even knew it was a thing. But I gotta tell you what, it is one of my best. It's one of the best performances I've ever seen this leading actress give. I'm talking about Aubrey Plaza and Emily the Criminal. Wow, I gotta tell you what, like I said, this movie just showed up on a Netflix recommendation, and I'm so glad I took the time to sit down and watch it. It was entertaining. It was the side of Aubrey Plaza that wasn't just the, smug, eye-rolling, I'm going to be a bitch type character. It had a lot more depth to it. There was reasoning behind some of the things that she was doing and saying, and you could relate, especially in this current climate, especially having been a college student that has debt. You will definitely be able to relate to everything that she is doing and the pressures that she is feeling. So check out Emily the Criminal if you haven't done so, especially if you have that Netflix subscription. It is a great time to sit down and watch, great popcorn flick. But yes, Aubrey Plaza delivers a great performance. I don't think this movie is going to be making a lot of buzz at the Oscars, but what an underrated movie in a year where there's been decent amount of good movies. Like I've said earlier, I think it was a little light on movies this year. I think the COVID and pandemic and quarantines have definitely kind of caught up to Hollywood a little bit here. But I did want to give a couple honorable mentions. I'm talking about like Glass Onion was also very good. Wakanda Forever was a pretty good movie as well. Avatar 2, of course, looked absolutely amazing. There's been a lot of decent movies out this year, guys, but this has been my top 10 list of movies of the year of 2022. Like I said, this is in no particular order. This is just my personal list. Things that I enjoy, things that surprise me, and things that I would definitely return to again. If you agree with my list, drop a comment down below. You disagree, drop a comment down below. Let's have a discussion. What movies did you like this year? What really blew you away? What surprised you? What was a big, giant disappointment? Regardless of what it is, guys, I'm glad that we have had another great year of movies. We have had another great year of Hollywood TV and just the world producing movies and entertainment, because there is always something out there for someone to enjoy. So whether you agree with my list, whether you don't, that is okay, guys. But thank you so much for tuning into another Houston Productions video. I can't thank you enough for watching this far. If you haven't done so already, give this video a thumbs up. Helps the channel grow. And if you're new around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I got a lot more stuff planned and coming in the year 2023, and I look forward to sharing it with you all. With that being said, guys, my name is Lucas. I'll see you in the next one. Happy watching.